Well, you want the British to leave, and then does Egypt want to take over, assume the sole responsibility for the protection of the Suez area?
Of course, we are ready to assume the sole responsibility for the Suez area. We have an army of 100,000. We need some equipment. With this equipment, we could be ready to defend our country. And I can assure you, the country can and defend its territory better than any other foreigners.
Do you plan to expand your military power in Egypt?
Well, this is limited to our possibilities of budget and so forth, but you know, our population is 21 million inhabitants. We could raise up to 1 million soldiers.
Well, that brings us to perhaps the most interesting point, sir. Here in America, our policy for a long time has been to expand the military power in the Middle East. The Middle East is a power vacuum. It's an immensely rich area, 60% of the oil reserves of the earth. And we, of course, as an American nation, we want to create a powerful military force in the Middle East, and we want it to be Egypt. Now, first of all, sir, you've said that your country, with 21 million people, you can support an army of 1 million people, can't you?
We can support, but you know, the expenses of a new army.
I mean, you can supply the manpower.
We can supply the manpower, and we could through our budget also help in defraying the expenses.
Mr.
Some of the expenses.
Do you see any signs that American policy will be to equip your troops with arms if you expand your armed forces?
Well, I really can't speak on the American policy, but...
I say, do you see any signs that that might happen?
Well, if the United States finds it for its interest that we'll have a strong Egypt, well-equipped, as they have found for its interest to have a strong Turkey, well-equipped in the northeastern Mediterranean.
Egypt would like to have that kind of aid, though.
Well, we are ready to have this aid, no doubt about it.
Well, I believe it's announced policy of our State Department now that we want to help create such power as you suggest. And the questions that are in our viewers' minds, I think, are these. First of all, how dependable would a strong Egypt be in the conflict between the West and Russia? Would you be a dependable ally?
We have been always dependable during the last 2 world wars. In the First World War, we rendered a great service to our friends, the Western powers.
Of course, I suppose.
In the last World War, we did the same thing. I don't find anything to the contrary for any future war.
Your primary need is airplanes and tanks, I assume.
Airplanes and tanks and anti-air defense.
This is a difficult question to ask you because you can't answer it but one way that I can see, but do you think that the Egyptians are do they have mechanical abilities to handle this technical equipment, the average Egyptian soldier?
The British Suez base is mainly run by Egyptian mechanics, and they have a special capacity in mechanics there, and we can find the people there who could do this job very easily.
Mr. Ambassador, just looking ahead a little bit, suppose you have your army of 1 million, and suppose they're equipped and supplied by the Americans, and maybe you get your training, some of your help in that way. Is there any chance at all of this big armed force being used aggressively against Israel?
I don't think there is any chance at all of that sort, because we need the army for our defense, for the defense of our country. And we have no aggressive intentions whatsoever against anybody. And you know that in 1950 there is a joint declaration of France, Britain and the United States guaranteeing the whole status quo there, and nobody could attack the other.